Good morning and welcome to our very first Kleinn webinar. My name is Eric Schaffer. I am the founder and president of Kleinn Air Horns. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are. We're here to tell you about a product that's been 4 years in the making. And we think this is going to be a huge seller right out of the gate. So the product here is our USTL bracket, and that stands for Universal Spare Tire Location. It's designed to be used with vehicles that do not require use of the spare tire, such as trucks that are outfitted with oversized aftermarket tires. It'll fit full-size trucks, and it will fit a lot of mid-sized trucks as well, and we'll dive into the whole fitment thing a little later on. A few years back, a lot of our customers and reps, including some of you here today, started asking us when we were going to have a product like the ones that our competitors were offering that would allow for an air horn system to be installed in that spare tire location. And we were aware of those products and aware of the designs, but we felt that we needed to do something better. 2021 marks our 20th year in business, and one of the things that has allowed us to become successful is that we listen to our customers. We listen to our jobbers, we listen to our distributors, we listen to our reps, and we listen to consumers. And in fact, one of our most popular products, our line of waterproof compressors, like this one here, was inspired by a consumer who was interested in testing our onboard air system for his Jeep JK. And he was concerned because the compressor is mounted underneath the passenger seat, and this particular guy liked to do water crossings and wanted to know what would happen if he ran that air system through a creek and got it fully submerged. That conversation was the inspiration for these waterproof, not water resistant, waterproof compressors that are still an industry exclusive. Anyways, getting back to the USTL, there were 3 issues with the product that was already on the market that we felt we needed to do better. First, the kit hung too low. Second, the method that was used to stabilize it against the bottom of the truck was, in our eyes, totally inadequate. And third, the materials were not beefy enough. All this added up to a design that we felt would not withstand the punishment of off-road or even rough road driving. So enter the USTL. It took us a while, but we got it right. What we have here is a bracket that uses the OEM spare tire to crank and secure the system into place. These horizontal braces that you see on the left and the right sides are positioned to cinch up against the structural members on the underside of the truck, the same ones that will support the OEM spare tire mounting assembly. Crank the assembly into place. The horizontal braces will keep it secure at every contact point along the support bar. These polyurethane strips that you see here are just one of the design elements that make the Kleinn USTL the most structurally stable kit on the market. We also designed the USTL to sit as high as possible underneath the body of the truck. As you can see on this drawing, the competition's bracket hangs 25% lower than the USTL. Now, we understand that on a lifted truck, ground clearance isn't really going to be an issue, but basic physics tells us that the lower a mass hangs from its mounting point, the more it's going to want to move. And you need to think of it like a pendulum. The longer the pendulum arm, the more unstable it is at the bottom, increasing the potential for the product to shift. The other major improvement goes back to those horizontal braces and back to physics. If you want to stop an object from moving back and forth, you want the stabilization points, the points at which it secures up to the bottom of the vehicle to be as far apart as possible. Our competition's bracket has these little rubber bumpers that come into contact with the underside of the truck about 5 inches apart from side to side. These horizontal braces on the Kleinn USTL are 14 inches from side to side. So you get exponentially more stability. Lastly, we use 11 gauge steel for the USTL, and that's 60% thicker than the steel that our competition uses. As you all probably know, steel is ridiculously expensive right now, but that was not something we felt that we could scrimp on. If you want to play hard, you got to be built tough. So tough, in fact, that when we were doing our prototype testing, we mounted one of these kits under a GMC Sierra, and drove it around for a week. We made reference marks on the truck frame and on the bracket so we could see after we rode this thing if the bracket shifted or slid out of position. So now here in Tucson, even the paved roads look like minefields, but we also drove miles of washboard dirt roads and we did off-road trails. And in the end, the total shift on those reference marks was 0. This is a product that will not fail. Getting back to fitment, unlike our competition's product, which will only fit full-size trucks, the Kleinn USTL will also fit most mid-size trucks too. Imagine being able to sell this air horn kit and air system to a guy with a Toyota Tacoma. Now you can. As a general guideline, the USTL will fit in vehicles with a spare tire that's 30 inches or more in diameter. It'll even fit in some applications with smaller spares, depending on the available space. At the end of today's presentation, we'll be sending you an information packet, and included in that packet is a compatibility guide that can and should be shared with jobbers, installers, consumers. The guide shows in great detail the space required to mount the USTL. So anyone can drop their spare, get under the truck with a tape measure, and determine if the USTL is going to fit. We offer the USTL in 4 varieties, 4 variations. 2 of them are right here, the USTL bracket by itself, and then the USTL 734. This USTL 734 is our flagship kit. It includes our biggest waterproof compressor, the 6450 RC, our biggest steel triple train horns, 3-gallon steel air tank, a tire inflation kit, also comes with a remote mount air hose coupler, so the end user doesn't need to crawl underneath the truck in order to use the tire inflation kit, plus all the wiring, fittings, tubings required for complete and professional installation. We also offer a USTL 230, very similar to what you see here, but it comes with a slightly smaller beast, train horns, and the 6350 RC waterproof compressor. And then there is the onboard air system only, the USTL OBA, which is basically the same thing that you see right here without the horns. Aside from the full prepackaged kits I just described, the USTL bracket can also be used with any of our universal kits except for the HK9. It comes with holes that are pre-drilled to fit the HK7 and HK8, but we left plenty of metal on the housing here so that the end user can simply drill holes to fit most any compressor tank and horn combination, as long as those components are the same size or smaller than the ones that we have here. As I mentioned earlier, installation is very easy. Mount the components on the bracket, add all the air lines and fittings, lift it into place using the OEM crank assembly, wire it up, and it's ready to go. We estimate the first one you do will take upwards of about 3 hours. Next one will probably take only 2. Now, while we remain committed and focused on our lineup of vehicle-specific bolt-on kits, we also recognize that jobbers are not going to stock all of them. There's a lot of SKUs and they're very expensive, but this is different because the USTL kits will fit a huge variety of different trucks and even some SUVs. We believe that this product is something that all of our jobbers should have on their sales floors. When a truck with oversized tires comes in the door, there'll be a kit there that the jobber can install today.